Yo, hello. Hello, hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Freodore, designer of NIJISANJI EN's 11th unit by the beat. おはようございます。NIJISANJI EN 所属 by the beat のビジュアルセンスがこだわりのデザイナーフリーオドルです。Hi everyone, hey everyone. Good afternoon. おはようございます。Zao-an. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Creo que ya no son días en la mayoría de los lugares hispanohablantes. Hello. What else do I know? I know C'est la Mapagi also. You know, hi everyone. Welcome to today's coffee Zatsu, which is not on a Sunday. It's on a Tuesday or Thursday this time. Pretty unusual change of schedule. There's a reason for this. I explained on X, formerly Twitter, that it's because I received my beans early. And usually, even if I receive the beans early, it's better for me to wait a few days after the beans are roasted for me to get a better flavor profile out of it. But because on Sunday we have the Anime Impulse meet and greet, an event, the beans arriving earlier makes it way more convenient for my schedule for me to do it today. And then I can just spend Sunday dedicated to the event instead of having to do what was originally planned, which was me doing a rushed Kofi Satsu and then immediately zoom towards the Anime Impulse meet and greets. But yeah, no, this way it's gonna be way more convenient for me. そうですね。スケジュールを変更しましたね。だって、今回はコーヒー豆を持ったより早く届いたので、けど普通になんか豆を早く届いたのに、普通に、少しだけ待った方がいいでしょ？豆が、焙煎から。でも、月曜日、日本の時間で、月曜日で、アニメインパルスのミート&グリートイベントがあるし、今日やって、スケジュールにもっと都合が良くなったね。だから、今日コフィサツをやります。Yeah, no. It really was fate making it easier for me. マジでラッキーだった。こうやってもっと楽になったから。It really became much more convenient like this. Anyways, today's gonna be an interesting coffee satsu because we're gonna be trying decaffeinated coffee. Not for the first time, but I mean specialty decaffeinated coffee for the first time. So, I'm very curious about it. I am a bit sleepy, so I don't know if this was a... No, I think this was still a good idea, but I don't know if it's gonna help much at all. Probably not, because it has no caffeine. Not that caffeine affects me much to begin with, but I think more than the coffee itself, the process of brewing it is gonna help me wake up. ちょっと眠いけどね。でカフェだから多分そんなに影響ないけど、まあ入れるのプロセスするたびに少しだけ目覚めたらいいかな。So, these are gonna be the beans and recipe we're gonna be using today. 今日使う豆とレシピはこちらです。はい。We're gonna be using the Origami Air M dripper as usual, but any cone dripper like the B60 works. And the recipe, this time I'm not gonna be using my own recipe. I'm gonna be using Lance Hedrick's variation of the 2-part recipe for decaf coffee because I don't have experience at all brewing decaffeinated beans pour over style, so I'm gonna be using another person's recipe instead. And we're gonna be using the Kafek TH3 filter as usual. So, today's beans are called Huila Decaffeinated by Say Coffee. They are a single origin type of bean from Colombia, and they're a washed process. So, I believe I have the website here, in case anyone's curious. 今日の豆のサイトはこちらですね。This Say Coffee, they specialize in light roast coffee, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty well regarded in the community. So, sometimes people are wondering how beans themselves get decaffeinated. So the process is actually specified here in the website. So it says that the decaffeinated coffee was processed in Manizales, Colombia. The process for decaffeination begins with sugarcane grown a few hours south of Manizales. The sugarcane is processed into molasses, which is then fermented to create ethanol, and subsequently processed with acetic acid to create ethyl acetate. Green coffee is put into tanks and steamed to open up the coffee's chemical structure and enable the extraction of the caffeine's molecules. Steamed coffee is then soaked in ethyl acetate solution multiple times, during which the caffeine molecules bond with the ethyl acetate and are ultimately removed and washed away with the solution. This process removes a minimum of 97% of the caffeine, and then after the extraction process, the coffee is steamed once more to remove any remaining traces of the ethyl acetate solution, and then sent to dryers to bring the coffee back down to its original moisture content. So to put it simply, they basically create this ethyl acetate solution out of like sugar cane and acetic acid in order for it to bound to the beans while they're steaming, and then make sure the caffeine molecules get stuck on that solution. And after that, the solution is washed. So that's the process, at least for this particular bean for getting decaffeinated. It's a bit complicated though, right? Very, very interesting to see all the lengths people go to make sure people that cannot drink caffeine have options as well. And the notes are actually jam, dark chocolate, and lemon zest. It's supposed to be a very balanced profile. So I'm very interested in trying them out. It sounds pretty good, and they smell really good so far. And the roast is a light roast. Say Coffee is known for their very light roast, so probably not for this recipe, not for this beans, but maybe for other beans that I ordered. I ordered another set of beans by them. I'll have to maybe adjust the recipe a little bit considering their roast profile. We're going to be doing 15 grams of beans, and we're going to be doing less amounts of water. We're going to be doing 220 grams of water only, and using cooler water as well, 88 degrees Celsius. The reason for this is because decaf coffee usually has benefits from lesser extraction, and it doesn't benefit from and since I think the flavor is not as easy to come out compared to regular beans, using a smaller ratio is usually better when it comes to brewing decaf. Usually it's also recommended to grind a little bit coarser, but we're going to be doing the usual 30 clicks on the Comandante C40. If I find it's still too fine, then I might end up adjusting this to a little bit, like 32 clicks or something. The reason being also is that for some reason decaffeinated beans grind a little bit finer than usual beans. So if I have a set of normal beans and I have a set of decaffeinated beans and I grind them both at 30 clicks, the decaf beans are going to be a little bit finer when they come out. So that's something we need to account for also. And the recipe is actually going to be pretty simple. We're going to do gentle pours until 45 grams, and then after 40 seconds, we're going to do a gentle center pour until 220 grams. So no agitation, no turbulent pours, because we don't want to push too much extraction or contact time with decaf coffee. But yeah, that's the rundown for today. I'm going to briefly explain in Japanese, and then we can move forward, okay? 少しだけ日本語でも説明してみますね。今回は、自分のレシピでじゃなくて、ランス・ヘドリックのデカフェ2ステップレシピを使ってみますね。僕がデカフェ豆をまだ入れたことないから、 やっぱりなんか他の人のレシピ使った方がいいかなと思ってた。そしていつも通りの折り紙 RM とカフェ TH3 フィルターを使ってみます。もちろん、折り紙 RM だけじゃなく、いろんななんか B60 とか持ってたら、これは全然大丈夫です。使ってる豆は、セイカフィのウィラーでカフェイネーテッド。これは、コロンビア品種のコーヒー、そして、生成過程が、ウォッシュ、プロセスの豆ですね。OK。そしてなんか、デカフェになるの、プロセスがちょっと説明するのは難しいけど、やってみますね。最初に、なんていうの、サトウキビから、エタノールを仮定して、そして、エタノールを、酢酸エチルに発酵して、酢酸エチル、コーヒー豆を発揮するときに、なんていうの、カフェインの分子を酢酸エチルに残るように、残れるようにプロセスがあります。後で、カフェイン残ってる酢酸エチルを、洗いますね。そうやって、多分、最初のプロセスから 97% ぐらいを、除去しますね。カフェイン。後で、酢酸エチルをちゃんと洗います。難しい。難しい。explaining the decaffeinated process in Japanese is it's really hard. If it's hard in English, it's way hard in Japanese for me. そして、コーヒー豆の味わいは、ジャム、ダークチョコ、そして、なんていうの、レモンゼスト。日本語で。How would you say lemon zest? レモンの、なんていうの？レモンゼスト、日本語。レモンの皮。なるほどね。OK。レモン皮の味わいある。なんか、この豆の味はバランスって言ってるから。結構気になりますね。そして焙煎が浅いですね。今回は豆をいつも通り 15g 使ってるけど、お湯は 220g だけ使ってみますね。今回はデカフェだから、そんなに、なんか割合そんなに、なんかちょっとだけ少なくて方がいいって言われてたね。だってデカフェだから、味を、香りを、なんていうの、出せるために、なんか普通のコーヒーと比べたらそんなに強くないから、もっと低い割合使った方がいいよね。そして今回は88度で入れてみます。そしてデカフェなら普通になんか低めが少しだけ普通の豆と比べたらなんていうのコーヒーのコーナーがもっと細引きになるから低めがもっと細くなるから普通になんか粗めで説明おすすめられてるけど普通にこうなんての30クリック設定で入れてみます。引いてみます。そしてレシピは簡単に最初から45g まで優しくて注ぎます。40秒経って真ん中で優しくて 220g まで注ぎます。はい、alright. Sorry for the lengthy explanation. One day I'll get faster at these. いつかこの説明をもっと早くなったらいいな。頑張る。So with that being said, how about we get started and with the ASMR section of the stream and we start preparing the coffee. じゃあ ASMR 始めましょう。I think someone asked if yuzu is different from lemons, and yeah, yuzu is a different fruit. It's also a citric though. lemons, limes, and yuzus are all different. Okay. It's brewing time. I'm gonna change the setting on my microphone. Alright, you should be able to hear my room now. 部屋もっと聞こえるようになりましたね。Hi. So let's take a look at the box. The box for this for these beans is super pretty, super minimal. We have a little card that has all the information about the coffee. So, oh, this is actually not a single origin. They are, or I guess they are, but like it's using Castillo and Caturra kind of beans. Interesting. I thought it was a single origin, but I guess it's from the same producer, two different kinds of beans. これはなんかシングルオリジンだと思ってたけど、ブレンドみたいな感じね。カスティーヨとカトゥラ種類豆はね。Something really cool about this company also is that it gives you the details about the production costs, how much is going to the workers, and how much is going to like the services. So it's pretty transparent in this case. And it seems this set of beans was roasted in January 6, 2026. So it's been almost 2 weeks. No, it's been a little bit more than a week since it got roasted, which is pretty good. Ideally would be 2 weeks. So maybe next week we'll be able to get more out of the beans compared to today. Sometimes that's something that's happened to me often in coffee satsus. そうですね。この豆はなんていうの？いつも忘れてるくらい。OK。今月の6日に焙煎したね。だから今は少しだけなんか1時間ぐらい経ったけど、一応おすすめは2時間ぐらい待って方がいいよね。だから多分来週はもっと美味しくなれるかも。Por eso que lo tostaron el día de Reyes, ¿no? Aquellos que lo celebran, espero que no les salió el muñeco en la rosca. But anyways, let's get started. Interestingly, though, I think Lance Hedrick mentioned in a video where he did brew some decaf. He mentioned that decaf, you want to drink it as soon as possible, no matter how light it is. So perhaps it really won't be much of a difference, but this is just the producer's recommendation. Oh, this is kind of... There you go. I'm trying to be careful opening it so that it does not spill everywhere. 目をこうしたくないから気をつけてるね。Whoa, that is very aromatic, very fragrant. 香りすごいよ。I smell it smells kind of fruity. Yeah, no, these are very generously filled. 結構フルーティーな 香りだね。楽しみ。Alright, so let's we're gonna do 15 grams. That's 18. We don't need 18. Something interesting is like the bag or the producer specifies jam, but doesn't specify what kind of jam it is. That is interesting. Let me see if the actual box is different, because I was basing it on the website. No, yeah, it says jam, dark chocolate, and lemon zest. So I don't know what kind of jam. そうね、豆の説明でジャム味わいって言ってるけど、なんかどんなジャムって言ってないね。But anyways, it smells really nice, so we're gonna be spraying some water onto the beans. こちらだけ豆に水をスプレーして make sure they're kind of moist to avoid static. There you go. Yeah, it's probably like a mixed fruit stuff. Nothing too specific when it comes to the jams. 多分なんかそんなにいろんななんかフルーツ種類ジャムかな。美味しそうけど。It smells pretty nice though. I mean, I like jam, so it's nice. Even like strawberry jam, I can take, despite not liking strawberries. But anyways, let's start grinding the beans, okay? 豆引きましょうか。全然硬くないよ。They're not hard at all. They're pretty easy to grind. Sure. How do I store the beans? In the bag. You don't really have to do much. But what you have to do is that if you're storing them in bags, is just make sure that you squeeze all the air out of the bag so it doesn't stay inside the box. That way inside the bag. That way it's better. Usually the bag that the coffee comes with is good enough. Alright, let's get our dripper ready. Make sure we don't make a mess. We have our water ready at 88 degrees. お湯も準備してます。And we are gonna be, whoa, yeah, this is definitely, like, just looking at the grinds, it's slightly finer than what I usually do. コーヒーのコーナー見たら確かにいつもより少しだけ細くなったね。面白い。まだ結構粗挽きだけどね。It's still pretty coarse, so I think it should be fine, but it's interesting how decaf will produce more fines. Alright, make sure this is even. Here we show the microphone, don't get in the way. Alright. Then let's get started with the recipe. We're going to be pouring 3 times the weight of water, so around 45 to 50 grams of water, onto the beans. And then we're going to do a gentle pour. We don't need much agitation until 220 grams, okay? じゃあ、レシピ始めましょうか。Where's the stopwatch? Here it is. よいしょ。Pretty gentle. There you go. We did 50 grams, but 45, 50 grams is fine. Now that I'm getting used to doing usually 30 grams on the bloom on my usual recipe, then 50 grams feels really nice because you don't have as much limited water. 今回結構優しくて注いでいいよね。Alright, 40 seconds. So now we're going to be pouring in the center, all gently, steady flow, onto the 120 grams. 真ん中で注ぎますね、優しくて。そんなに動かなくていいよ。There you go. 220 grams. We're not gonna swirl either, we're just gonna let it go. Usually, because decaf coffee produces more fines as well, it's gonna be draining a little bit slower than usual. So that's to be expected. Usually, contact time and brewing time is not as important because of this difference. そうですね。普通に airplane. You guys can hear that, right? This is what I mean. So if you guys can hear the airplane all the way up, then imagine how loud, how easy it is for the mic to pick up the dogs that are at the neighbors. How have they been? They haven't been barking much lately, so it's fine. So yeah, no, actually, like usually I finish my brews within like 1 minute 50 to 2 minutes, but this time it's still draining, so it's definitely going a little bit slower. そうだね、普通にデカフェ豆は普通よりなんか同じ設定でも細かくなるから、お湯を流すのもっと遅くなるね。だって普通に同じ設定で2分ぐらいかかるけど、今回はなんか2分50秒ぐらいだったね。It almost took 3 minutes this time. Alright, so we're done brewing. Interesting. Alright, let's give it a try. It's only 220 grams, so not that much coffee. If I really like it, maybe I'll brew another cup. We'll see. 今回は 220g だけだから、そんなになんか少ないでしょ。まあ、気に入ったら、また2杯も入れるよ。Okay. Warning for anyone that's not good with drinking noises. I'm gonna be tasting the coffee, so I'm gonna have to slurp a bit. 少しだけ注意しますね。飲む音苦手の人に。味わうために少しだけうるさくなるから。失礼しますね。Provecho, gracias. Let's see. Kind of nervous. My first specialty decaf. ちょっと緊張してますね。初めての高級デカフェ。Whoa, whoa. Let's Alright, we should be back to normal. Whoa, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. It does have a... It definitely tastes different. I think it does not have the usual strength or I guess bitter, like pleasant bitterness that coffee has. It feels way lighter when it comes to that. This could also be due to the recipe, but then again, we're using a way lower ratio than we usually do, so it should be a little bit more concentrated. Regardless, it's a pretty light cup, which is how I like my coffee, by the way. Yeah, it's very tea-like. But the clarity on this cup is really good. Like, I can taste the subtle flavors very, very easily. Like, it tastes fruity, but I can taste like a lemony, but almost like apricot jam kind of a tartiness to it, which is pretty nice. But I also taste like some sweetness, which is more on the like similar to like a dark chocolate or a date kind of taste. This is pretty nice. Eh, すごいよ。確かにデカフェだから普通よりそんなに強くないね。なんか普通のコーヒーの苦さがそんなにない。なんかまあ普通の僕が好きな苦さね。結構なんか茶みたいに透明感高いんだ。結構なんかフルーティーな味わいを分かりやすくて、ちょっとなんかアプリコットジャムやレモンみたいな感じがあるね。でもそれなのにまだなんか甘さもあるよ。ちょっとなんかデーツやチョコレートみたいな感じ。すごいよ。だって今回は割合は普通より低いから、普通の豆ならこのコーヒーは結構強くなるけど、すごいよ。This is pretty impressive. My experience with decaf so far has been pretty unpleasant, to say the least. I'm surprised. Now, what I'm wondering is how their normal coffee tastes, because it could also be due to the quality of the store, right? The producer. Because this is my first time trying beans from this producer. So it could just be that their beans are really good in general. And let's remember that it's still recommended that we drink this 2 weeks after roasting, and it's only been a week. So maybe the taste is gonna get a little bit stronger or a little bit more fragrant next week as well. And I guess the gem is apricot jam. I mean, that's just me. That's the relation I put to it, but who knows? Maybe for some people it's gonna be different. Very interested in trying their other beans I ordered now. I can show you guys. As for the other beans I ordered these ones. 別の豆も注文したね。多分来週で味わってみようかな。これもコロンビア品種の豆。These are also Colombian. Now that I see it, if I go to the website, the stuff they're selling right now is a little bit it has increased, but back then you could only buy like 3 different beans. So I guess there's more in stock right now. But yeah, it's a pink bourbon washed, and the flavor, the notes should be tangerine, honey, and blueberry, which sounds very interesting. Apparently, like clarity and expression is noted here, so I was very interested in it. Mm, そうですね。結構気になってたね。この豆。だって透明感って書いてたから、そして味わいは、タンジェリン、蜂蜜、そしてブルーベリーが書いてもらったから、面白そうと思った。だから多分来週で味わってみようか。Most of their coffees look like they have a lot of fruity and sweeter notes. Yeah, which is what I'm into, so I was very curious about it. Unfortunately, I think they only ship in the United States though. So it feels bad about that. 残念ながらなんかインターナショナルシッピングがないね、今回は。What I'm really curious about this cup or these beans in general, like these decaf, is also how different is it going to be from caffeine coffee when it comes to like the effects on the voice and the throat. I'm sure that affects people differently, and from what I understand, it's not just caffeine that can dry you out. It's also other compounds present in coffee beans, but still the caffeine does contribute in perhaps drying out your voice if you don't drink enough water. So I'm often trying to stay hydrated. I really am curious about how I feel after drinking this coffee. And then maybe this could be a viable option whenever I just want to like optimize myself, and if I need to record a lot or stream a lot, then maybe this kind of coffee would be best to drink. Because I don't drink for the caffeine anyway, so. Then their subscription shipping sounds nice. Have you ever considered it? The thing is though, I would consider subscription services if I was just drinking for myself and brewing for myself. However, one thing that I try to do in my activities for Coffee Zatsu is showcase different kinds of stores and different kinds of beans. So I think if I had a subscription, I would end up just with a lot of beans that I don't have enough like time to brew and consume them all before they go bad. So unfortunately, I don't do subscription services right now. That way I can show more different kinds of beans and stores to you guys. And have you considered home coffee roasting for yourself? I have not yet. I think that's probably like next level. I am not completely against the idea, but that seems like too much work. But I think like once you know what you're doing, then maybe you can get the best beans you want. I don't know. I'll trust the producers though. そうですね。いろんななんかお店で、なんていうの？なんか登録サービスがあって、シッピングとかもっと安くなるけど、まあやっぱり僕がコーヒー雑談活動でいろんなお店と豆を紹介したいから、登録したらやっぱり豆が保つでしょ。だから多分しなくて方がいいよね。Yeah, coffee beans. it never goes to the point where it's unsafe to drink, but the more oxygen is exposed to coffee beans, the more time passes, the more it loses its properties, and then and then the flavor profile of some of the properties also changes with time. So usually, I believe the recommended amount of time is gonna depend on the bean, but usually within 1 month of roasting is ideal. Yeah, it gets stale, basically. そうですね。コーヒー豆は普通に時間経ったらなんか悪くなるね。まだ飲めるけど、やっぱりなんか味の、なんていうの、原子かな？いや、原子は違うかも。でもコーヒーの味がちょっと変わるから、普通に焙煎から1ヶ月ぐらい飲んだらいいと思うね。風味が変わるよね。時々なんか豆によって2ヶ月は大丈夫だけど。Sometimes like 2 months is okay depending on the bean. There's some beans that after 2 or 3 months are still fine for me, but usually within the month is the best.デロンギマシン買ってからいいよね。I think there are some recipes that you can do, some things people do to get some flavor or some life back to their old beans. I've seen a few recipes or videos explaining like what to do if you have a lot of old beans laying around in order not to waste them. But usually what I do with old beans is make them into cold brew. Right now is not really the time to do cold brew. We have been at around like 3 to 5 degrees Celsius lately, but usually that's what I do with my old beans. I make them into cold brew. 普通になんかもう時間いっぱい経った豆ならなんか美味しくなるレシピがあるみたいけど、僕が普通にもう古い豆をコールドブリューになるね。最近は寒いからあんまりコールドブリューやってないけど、だって3度5度ぐらいだから。いっぱい残ったらコールドブリュー入れます。Yeah, of course, humidity in dry environments can also affect the beans. Usually you want it to be in a relatively dry place. Like store them in a relatively dry place with no exposure to sunlight. In the freezer? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't freeze your beans. Don't freeze your beans and don't freeze your footy puppet. 2 things you shouldn't freeze. Actually, you know, when it's not It's actually not bad. No, you're right. It's actually not bad because I have heard stories of like, okay, for example, even for decaf, whenever it's a freshly roasted bean and you want it to pre-bend, I think like some people freeze dry them or something. Like store them by freezing. So no, I think freezing is good. Freezing could be good if you want to retain the bean's freshness, but I think it's only like in specific scenarios where maybe it's a really light roast. Pre-freeze Foodie Puppet, will he taste better too for a long time? Don't taste the Foodie Puppet. You can freeze beans, but you gotta make sure it's packed properly and doesn't have moisture. Yeah, that's why I think like they don't like just store them in the freezer. They have like a special process for like freeze drying and freeze storing it. Foodie Puppet does not belong in the microwave, in the freezer, in the air dryer, air fryer, air dryer, air fryer. I mean, air dryer maybe. Air fryer, not very much. You want Foodie Puppet to be fresh? You get him some pretty nice clothes, so he can stay fresh. What water temperature do we water for the Foodie Puppet? Foodie Puppet usually likes drinking coffee at around 90, 92 degrees. So you can brew coffee for him at around that temperature. Do not boil the Foodie Puppet though. Can Foodie Puppet, so he can float. He can float. Foodie Puppet はやっぱり優しくしてくださいね。Please be nice to him. He's done nothing wrong. I think someone asked, who is Foodie Puppet? Let me introduce you to Foodie Puppet. Hey, this is Foodie Puppet. For anyone that didn't know him, これはFoodie Puppet です。So, if anyone's curious about how to get your own Foodie Puppet, you can purchase it on the NIJISANJI EN official store. Still available, still in stock. And I believe shipping has been getting better recently, so. He'll be under your care. フリバブもみんなよろしくお願いしますね。You can contact customer service support about it. Yeah, that could be a good idea. Usually, this is not just for like the Niji store or this in specific, but I'm gonna share you guys something really wise. If you guys want something done when it comes to like an internet service or just any service you're dealing with, call them. Emails and stuff, calling them is usually way better to get a speedy process for anything. That has been my experience. You don't have to be like upset or like mad or anything, just usually it's way easier for people to attend to you directly if you're speaking with them compared to like them having to check a direct probably a good amount of accumulated emails and stuff. Who knows how many emails with each establishment has, so usually calling them is way better if you want to get attended. Then as long as it's an actual person on the other side of the phone. Sometimes you get like those bots, right? But usually there's ways to speak to, you have to like, I want to speak to an agent, I want to speak to an agent, I want to speak to an agent. Press the one button if you want to speak to an agent, then one. Something like that, right? Para español, oprima dos. No, I want to speak to an agent. I want to speak to an agent. Stuff like that. Of course, depending on the store or something, it depends, right? It's not always super easy, but the point is like don't just like sit down with your arms crossed and be like, oh man, I wonder when. If you can like try contacting them, usually though, they're gonna try and make you be satisfied, so. Thank you for the super chat, thank you very much. Sorry about that. 普通ね、何か、日本では状況はちょっとわからないけど、普通に、例えばなんかサービスとかいっぱい時間経ったら、普通に E メールより電話かけた方がいいよね。そうやって、なんか、直接でサービスしてもらえるみたいな感じがある。僕は普通にそんな感じだ。いろんななんか、ネットサービスを頼むときに。初見です。いらっしゃい、いらっしゃい。Welcome. Please wait in the line for... And then... Oh wait, your spot is number 3 on the line. Please wait. It's like, please wait until an agent can get back to you, and then you just get the music, right? Feel like a satellite, raining down all night, oh yeah. Until someone picks up. Can you imagine if Satellite was actually like a like a waiting song? Probably not. Yeah, the audio is usually super compressed, right? The quality's not that great. 確かにね、普通になんか電話で待ってる時になんか BGM のクオリティそんなに高くないよね。ちょっと低くなるよ。まあ、電話だからしょうがないけどね。I mean, it's through the phone, so there's not much you can do. I think, wait, maybe I can display it. Let me do funny audio things. So, wait, let me first do it on the monitor so I can hear myself and then maybe display it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it would be kind of like this, I guess. You guys cannot hear it yet, though. It would become something like this, right? I am on the phone right now. Moshi moshi. Sorry, I inquired about some coffee beans the other day, but they still haven't shipped. Would you be able to get back to me on that order, please? Yeah, sure, I'll wait. Something like that, right? Customer service voice back just dropped. Frio trying to get you to buy 30 Pape's voice back. It's like, oh no, it seems like there's something wrong with your bank account and we have sent you this amount of money by accident. You have to give it back in Foodie Papes. And those scams like just awful. How they like especially on like elder people. It's kind of sad. 詐欺がよくあるね。いろんななんか、特に老人人に、電話かけて、少しだけ、間違えて、いっぱいお金を、なんていうの？なんか、銀行アカウントで入ったから、返してもらっていいって言われて、そうそう、オレオレ詐欺。やばいよね。海外では人気だ。そうそうそうそう。Does your mic have different sound modes? It does, but what I was doing was not on the mic. It was on my audio processing. Ore Ore scam is called. I see. I wonder why is it called Ore Ore? なんでオレオレというの? That's interesting. 赤スーパーありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ニジスーパーもありがとうございました。ありがとうね。You're gonna make satellite phone call version on stream? I don't know if I can do that. I wonder if I can show how to do the... It's very easy, actually. If anyone has an equalizer, it's super easy to make a telephone sound effect. It's really just an EQ thing. あ、俺だよって。あ、なるほどね。なるほどね。なんか名前教えないために、ただ俺って言うからけどなんか番号のクオリティはそんなに高くないから、電話のクオリティが高くないから、じゃあみんなは勘違えるでしょ。勘違いするわ。あ、なるほどね。I see. So it's called ore scam in Japanese because when people call you, they'll just be like, it's me. It's ore da. But because of the quality of the phone, you won't be able to like recognize who it is. Wow. That makes sense. It's like, who is it? It's me. Yeah, that is very common in Latin America also. It's like, oh, it's me, your cousin. Oh, it's me, your aunt. And stuff. But they won't say the name. Or they maybe say, oh yeah, I am they'll say maybe one of your relatives that they know from somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, I'm this person's son or something. ラテンアメリカはそれはマジで人気だ。俺だよ。あなたの、なんていうの、なんかおじさんとか。It's really funny when you get those calls and be like, I'm your son, I'm your daughter. And it's like, oh really? I didn't know I had a son. You kind of messed up there. 時々面白いよね。だって、娘です、息子です。息子がいいって知らなかったよ。どういうこと？ What do you mean? It's like a time traveler, really? Yeah, no. But yeah, speaking of my microphone's modes, I don't think I ever showcased all of them. I wonder if you guys can hear the difference. Let's give that a try. まあ、いろんなマイク設定があるし、多分みんなわかれるかな？やってみようか。Should we give it a try? Okay, so this would be the standard mode of the microphone. I almost never use this on stream. I use this when singing. This is the cardioid mode. That means that the pickup pattern of the mic is in the shape of a heart. And it's gonna be picking up what's in front of the microphone and reducing a little bit of what's in the back. これは普通のカジオイドモードね。これは普通にあまり使ってないね、配信で。録音するときに使うけど、配信であまり使わないよね。And then, what I usually use on the stream, 配信で普通使うのは、こちらです。Hypercardioid. The difference with hypercardioid and cardioid is that the pickup pattern is smaller, and that makes it so that it picks up a little bit less of the background noise from the sides and the back, and it's a little bit more focused on the front of the microphone. That way, you get a little bit more of an intimate sound with it, right? こうやってハイパーカーディオだね。こうやってなんかマイクのなんていうの、マイクのパターンがもっとなんか短くなるね。こうやってなんかマイクの前しかちゃんとなんていうの、拾うからこうやってもっとなんか部屋と周りの音がそんなに拾わない感じするね。音を拾うね。そう。指向性やね。そう。Now, what I usually do for coffee satsus is this, which is called omnidirectional mode. What this will do is that it will pick the sound from all around the microphone. So even if I move to the side, you guys can still hear me, but if I go back to my normal mode... Sorry, my camera's not picking me up here. If I go back to the normal mode, it does not pick it up as well. これは普通でコーヒーサツを ASMR の時この設定使うのよね。omnidirectional mode こうやってマイクの周りをちゃんと拾いますね。And then there's I guess I can show this more with the finger. So now this picks up the mic from all around, but for example, there's this called the figure 8 mode. And this figure 8 mode is different because it will only pick up the mic sound from the front and the back. So for example, this is the front, this is the back, but the sides are not as cleanly picked up. そしてこれはフィギュア8っていうの設定だね。今回はただ前の後ろだけしか拾わないよね。右と左そんなに強く拾わないよ。I never use this one. これは全然使ってないよね。And we are back to the normal mode, the normal hypercardioid mode. これはいつも通りのハイパーカルジオイドよね。An interview setting, yeah, or for example, depending on like maybe if I have someone else over also for like an off collab or something. Or maybe if you're recording two vocalists and one is on one side and one is on the other side, but you don't want to capture the whole room either. That would be a good idea. I think figure 8 is also used on instruments more. For vocals, usually cardioid is the most popular. To be fair, the only reason I got this mic with these multiple settings was for the hypercardioid mode though, because the dogs were being too loud. And then the previous mic that I upgraded to, which was really good, you guys heard it for a while. It captured, it was super sensitive also, so I wanted something that would pick up way less sound compared to last time. そうね。まあ、いろんな設定があるけど、普通になんかハイパーカジュ使ってないね。だって、このマイク買うの理由は、前使ってたマイクは結構音を拾ってたし、そして隣さんのワンちゃんが結構うるさかったから、まあ少しだけ聞こえないようになったらいいなかなと思ってた。だからハイパーカジュアル設定できるマイクを買いましたね。最近ワンちゃんあんまりうるさくてワンしてないけどね。Lately they haven't been barking when I'm streaming, so that's been good, thankfully. Hopefully it's not a jinx. Gatita has not been coming to my streams either. Probably because it's cold, so she's sleeping more. So yeah, lately my streams have been free of interruptions, which has been nice. そしてガティタもあまり来てないよね、最近だって。最近はこっちは寒いから。よく寝てるね。 夜中ぐらいに来るけど。She comes around like late midnight though. Like during the night. Yeah, I mean, when it's colder, you just want to sleep more, right? I've been feeling that lately. Ma, やっぱりなんか寒くなったら起きるの難しくなるよね。You hope that Ying and Yang are doing good. You're giving names to my cats. Gatito. And Gatito's doing good. I think he's probably outside right now. But something I realized is that maybe Gatito doesn't like Gatita either. Because the last times Gatito has seen Gatita, he like jumps at her, kind of like maybe like to attack, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, Gatita's also yelling at him. But I think it's possible that they're both very territorial, because there's been times where like other cats are like curious about other stray cats, like wanna look around, and then Gatito like scares them away, or just like shoos them away. So it's possible that Gatito's pretty territorial, especially now that he's growing. So I think they might just be enemies. But yeah, usually he doesn't care about Gatita, or if he notices her, he's just like jumping at her, I don't know. Fighting each other. Don't they friendly fight sometimes? I don't, it's not friendly. At least not Gatita's side. I don't keep Gatito inside, so they have never actually had contact with each other. Just from like windows or doors. そうね、最近なんかこれきついたね。ガティトが、前にただ、ガティタちゃんからガティトのことが嫌いだと思ってたけど、最近ガティトも、ガティタ見たら、ガティタが、クーって言って、ガティトちゃんも、なんか、扉に、なんか攻撃みたいにジャンプするから多分、二人が結構、ここは、俺のものだって。だよね。やっぱり敵だよね。けどまあまあ。ガティタはインドアの猫ちゃん。ガティタはアウトドアの猫ちゃん。But yeah, no, I really, Gatito never goes inside. Gatita never goes outside, so they're just in their own realm. I bought, I think I mentioned before that I bought Gatito a house for him to sleep, especially now that it's getting colder, and he's been liking it a lot. He sleeps in it. He sleeps in it and stays there for a while. そしてガティトちゃんに猫ハウス買ったね。クリスマスの時ぐらい。結構気に入ったよ。よくあの猫ハウスに寝てるよ。What about the water drinking fountain? She did not care about it. She did not care about it at all. She did not care about it at all. She just... In fact, she stopped drinking water until we removed the water fountain and then put her usual water cup back. So yeah, no, that was a failure. The water fountain did not work. Ah, man. Yeah, no. そうですね。猫分水買ったけど、やっぱり全然気に入らなかったね。ガティタが全然なんか水飲んでなかったし、 じゃあ、噴水を抜けて、なんかいつも通りのカップを入れて、また飲んでたよ。やっぱり気に入らなかったね。失敗だったわ。So yeah, now all those TikToks, like cats really prefer water flowing for their drinking habits or whatever. Yeah, that's what cats actually want. Not mine. Surely not mine. I think a friend showed me a picture the other day, which was so true. And it was like cat owner beginner level, and it's like a lot of toys, a lot of different toys, a lot of like fancy cat houses and stuff. And then there was like cat owner professional level, and it's just like a normal cardboard box, a used water bottle, rolled up sheets of paper, like a fake lizard, something like that. So yeah, no, that's what cats actually like. That is true. I do have in my room, I do have a cardboard box, like an Amazon box that's pretty small, and Gatita-chan just loves being in it. She thinks she's like hidden or something, but the box is so small, she barely fits in it. So ね、なんか、この前、面白いミーム見たね。猫飼う初心者のイメージで、いろんななんか、おもちゃとか、猫ハウスとか、あったけど、猫飼うプロなら、普通の、なんていうの、普通のなんか段ボール箱とかもう飲んだなんかプラスチックボトルとかただ紙ボールとかそれはプロレベルだよ。But that's something, maybe that's a lesson that we can learn though, from cats. Which is like living according to their standards and according to what they actually truly are interested in, right? Not what society expects them or wants them to enjoy, you know. Maybe that's something we can learn from them. これは結構いいレッスンになるけどね。だって猫ちゃんがマジでマイペースで生きてるでしょ。社会とか、周りの人の期待をそんなに全然構わないから。もちろん、人間として、周りの人を配慮するのが大事だと思うけど、時々、機会があれば、やりたいものをやってほうがいいよね。Of course, I think like as adults, it's important to like be very considerate and about the people around you, not to inconvenience them, to maybe do something that's more self-indulgent. However, if there's an opportunity to maybe do something that could be unusual or not something that you think you would be good at, just take the opportunity and try it out. Why not, right? Yeah, minimalism is great also. Love minimalism. I don't know if Gatita does it for the aesthetic, but maybe we embrace that in our own ways. I'm not that fond of cardboard boxes though. They're very easy to accumulate if you order stuff online a lot.まあ個人的に段ボール箱はそんなに気に入ってないよね。だっていっぱい Amazon とか頼んだら結構保ってるね。困るよ。But maybe it's new toys for Gatita every time. まあガティタちゃんに新しいおもちゃだけどね。緑川の中に行ってくるよ。猫ちゃんはそんな感じだよね。いつもなんかパーキングしたいときに緑川とかスーツケースとかに入っちゃうでしょ。わかるよ。確かに確かに。They also do this thing, right? It's like whenever you actually need to pack something or you need to use something in general, that's when they feel like they have the need to enter the suitcase the most and just sit there, be a loaf around. It's like, oh, you made this space just for me. Thank you very much. Or not even like thank you very much, it's just like, what? Isn't this supposed to be mine? Well, it's mine now. I think that's probably more the cat behavior about it. これはもう私のものだって言うよね。スプチャットありがとうございます。Creo que recientemente me salió un video de ahorita que fue el Día de Reyes de un gato haciendo cebollito en medio de una rosca. Y es como ¿en serio? For context, the 6th of January is it's a holiday celebrated in various Latin American countries and Hispanic countries called the Dia de Reyes, the King's Day, which is and in some countries it is celebrated by eating a special kind of pastry dessert that's almost like it's not circular. It is kind of circular, I guess. And it has a big like a donut has a big hole in the middle. And I recently saw a video of a cat loafing in the middle of that dessert. It's like, but that's the thing we were gonna eat. And the cat was like, that's not my problem, is it? Hmm, そうだね。普通になんか6日時になんか1月6日にいろんな国が結構なんか祝日があるね。まあこれはクリスト系な祝日だと思うけど、なんかディアデレイエスっていうの祝日だね。そしてあの日に普通になんか国によって特別なパンを食べるね。それはちょっとなんかでかいドーナツみたいな感じが があるけど、ドーナツホールで、デザートホールで、いろんななんか、猫ちゃんが、いてた動画見てて、可愛かったと思った。ロスカって言うよね。あのパンが。Yeah, it's not the cat's problem. Maybe I can show a picture of it. It's kind of like this. So in the videos, the cat was in the middle. Just sitting there, loafing there. And it's like, wait, but the food. そうね。そして動画で猫ちゃんが真ん中で座ってたよ。あの動画の家族が、待って。あれを歌いたかったけど。Yeah. It's now the cat. Le pertenece al Michi. Exacto. How I talked about this on stream about Michis? This is super Latin American. But a nickname for cats in Spanish used to be Misifu. Misifu used to be a nickname for cats. And that got turned into Michi. So now it's very common for Latin Americans or Hispanic people to call cats Michis. Ah, mira, un Michi. That's a cat. So yeah, cats are Michis. そうですね。これはなんかラテンアメリカ文化で、昔、猫ちゃんが、ミシフのニックネームがあったから、時間が経って、なんかミシフがミチになって、普通にラテンアメリカ圏の人が猫ちゃんにミチと呼ぶよね。ああ、ミチだって言ったら、じゃあ、猫ちゃんだっての意味ですね。And then dogs have fetal eyes. That is true. Fetal eyes. That's also a common one for dogs. But that one's really interesting because the meaning behind fetal eyes is that it's misunderstood English that meant free of lies. That means it's a dog that has no lies in it. But it became fetal eyes. And people started calling dogs fetal eyes. ¿Sí se sabían el origen del fetal eyes, que era de free of lies en inglés? Yo no sabía hasta hace poco. Tal vez como hasta hace 2 años. So, これも面白いですね。面白い話だ。結構ラテンアメリカ圏の国でも犬ちゃんにフィルライスって言ってたね。フィルライスって言うけど、と呼ぶけど、ほんまの意味は、英語を勘違いがあって、free of lies だったけど、なんかしらみなしの意味だったけど、フィルライスになったよ。なんか時々、フィルライスフィルってと呼ぶね、犬ちゃんに。 It's really interesting how there's so many like words, especially in Spanish that come from misunderstood English. Or just like, not even misunderstood, but just the pronunciation being changed, right? Que lo hemos adaptado así como el bistec. Bistec, que es beef steak. Bistec. PPD is nice. People is nice. Cosas así. Speaking of which, I wonder which Spanish word I should teach you guys today. I didn't teach you guys one last stream and it's been a while. 今日は何をしようかな、スペイン語講座で。前回何も知ってなかったから。Maybe something related to the coffee. Jam かな？ジャムにしようかな？ Should we do jam? Descafeinado. I guess I never taught caffeine right either. カフェインも教えたことないでしょ？ないでしょ。じゃあカフェインにしようか。I can teach you guys jam also. まあジャムも教えよう。けど今日のはカフェインにしようか。It fits the theme of Zatsu anyways, of a coffee. This one has a tilde. It's pretty easy. これは結構簡単だけどね。カフェイン、カフェイナ。So, in Spanish it would be cafeína. El café tiene cafeína. Bastante, pretty self-explanatory, no? Coffee has caffeine. Because it has a tilde on the I, that's the strongest syllable, so it's cafeína. 今回はE のティルドがあるから、カフェイナじゃなくてカフェイーナよね。It's not cafeína, it's cafeína. Now for jam, there's two ways of saying it in Spanish actually, depending on the place. You don't have the accent marked on your keyboard? Me neither. Me neither. You just have to... Well, I do switch my keyboard to Spanish whenever I switch it, but my keyboard itself does not have the mark. Exactly. So, In Spanish, you can say mermelada, which is kind of similar to marmalade, and jalea, which is kind of similar to jelly. But usually what we say is mermelada. That's the most common one. 普通に、ジャムなら、メルメラダとハレアと言えるけど、普通にメルメラダ使うよね。ハレアは普通になんか番組で見るけど、あんまり聞かないよね。I think ハレア is something that I see in like movies and dubs, but I don't really see it used daily much. So mermelada is usually what I see. Which I think like in English, marmalade, jelly, and jam will have different meanings, but I think in Spanish we just use mermelada for most. I could be incorrect though. Jalea is more like gelatin. It's gonna depend on the country, I think. Because for example, when Spanish dubs or TV shows say like jalea de fresa, they don't talk about strawberry jello. They talk about like strawberry jam. So it's gonna depend. Okay, 英語ならなんかジャム、ジェリーとマーマレードの意味はちょっと違うから、それはもう気をつけないといけないね。スペイン語なら普通にメルメラダ使うけど。Jalea, here's the syrup you put in ice cream or pancakes. That would be jarabe for me. Jarabe de maple? Maybe. But jalea? That's more like jelly. Miel? I mean, that's the honey, right? Porque hay gente que dice miel de maple, pero no, creo que no es correcto. Creo que correcto es jarabe de maple. Anyways, I think I'm gonna be ending the stream here. So, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the miscellaneous talk. The coffee was really good, by the way. I might actually brew another cup later on today. But yeah, thank you very much. というわけでここで多分そろそろ終わりしますね。いろんな雑談ありがとうございます。結構美味しかったよ。今日の豆ね、多分また今度じゃなくて今日は後でまたいっぱい入れるかも。But anyways, and also thank you so much for joining me despite the sudden schedule change. It really was in order to make it easier on my schedule. So very much appreciate you guys making the time, especially those who wake up early to watch the streams. It's appreciated. そしてみんなわざわざスケジュール変化があったのに変更したのにわざわざ早く起きて配信に来てくれてありがとうございましたね。こうやって月曜日のイベントをちゃんと集中できます。だからありがとうございます。So without further ado, before we end, I'm going to be reading the super chats and then we can call it a day, alright? まあ、終わる前にスーパーチャットを読ませていただきますね。ありがとうございます。Alright. Ollie, thanks so much for the super chat. Thank you very much. it definitely still had the coffee flavor, so I was very surprised by this cup. Kaibara, thanks so much for the super chat. Very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'll be under your care for anime impulse. Thank you very much. Gin-san, スプチャットありがとうございました。ありがとうね。マジですごかった、この豆は。レモンクリームさん、スプチャットありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。ありがとう、ありがとう。山田たぬきさん、赤スーパーありがとうございます。感謝してますね。二次スーパー、この前の。感謝してます。ありがとうございます。メガシクネ、thank you so much for the super chat. Muchas gracias. Ahí te lo saludo. DMCs, thanks so much for the super chat. Thank you very much. ですよね。I'm sure Gatita-chan will come back when it gets a little bit warmer. 多分もっと季節が暖かくなるときにまた来るかも。Gatita-chanが。もう諦めたよ。暖かくなるって、温めるとか、もう言わないよ。あったくなるっていう。ずっと困ってるから発音なんか早く喋りたいときに。ペピさんスパチャットありがとうございます。絶対に、日本でも美味しいデカフェ豆があるはず。頑張ってね。見つけるの。Lenny, thanks so much for a super chat. Thank you very much. I hope you can find some nice decaf beans. Good luck, good luck. Thank you very much. Whimpering, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, since I was so pleasantly surprised by this decaf, and especially if I notice a positive effect on my voice, I might end up buying more decafs. So surely it's not gonna be the last one, right? I'm gonna have to finish this bag though first though. Mint Rain, thanks so much for the super sticker. ニッポさん、スーパーチャットありがとうございます。ありがとうございますね。アニメインパルスも頑張ります。しおりさん、スーパーチャットありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。やみちさん、スーパーチャットありがとうございます。ぜひぜひ、デカフェも飲んでみるのをおすすめです、みんな。After this stream, I can definitely recommend trying specialty decaf. If you guys have the opportunity. 機会があればね。まあ、高級デカフならね。インスタントなら無理。If it's instant then X. 無理。No. Anyways, I think I was able to read all the super chats, so we're going to be calling it a day here, okay? スーチャット全部読めたので、ここで終了させていただきます。Thank you guys. See you guys tomorrow for some more Pokemon Legends ZA. See you guys. またね。スーパーチャットありがとうございます。また明日、ポケモン Legends ZA を続きますね。12時に。またね。See you guys. Hasta luego, chicos. コーヒーフィー。Alright, it seems like Finana Senpai is doing her study club ASMR stream, so we're gonna be redirecting to her. But it's probably gonna be a chill environment, so let's try not to make too much noise, okay? 今、フィナナ先輩が、勉強作業配信してるから、そこにリダイレクトしましょうね。けど多分みんなが集中してるから、そんなに、なんか静かにリダイレクトしましょうか。So, see you guys.